Hey guys, what's going on? This is RJ Game News USA here, back today with another top 10 list. And many of you know I am a huge fan of Nintendo. I'm not strictly a Nintendo fanboy though. I'll cover everything. And I'll be honest about mistakes Nintendo has made. And I want to talk about the 10 worst mistakes ever made by Nintendo. So if you like this kind of content, like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. And let's jump right into it. Number 10 on this list is the 3DS launch price. Now, admittedly, I'm one of the people that went ahead and bought the 3DS at $250. Now, some of you may be thinking, hey, $250 isn't bad. Well, you got to think, at the time, Nintendo didn't really price systems all that expensive. $250, I think, was the price of a goddamn Wii. So for a handheld, which is usually traditionally way cheaper for Nintendo, keep in mind the Game Boy original was like $80, and the 2DS was $80 towards the end of the life cycle. For them to sit there and price at $250, especially with no good launch games, was a terrible idea, and the sales did suffer. And they did suffer long term. 3DS actually only sold about half as good as the DS, although I believe some of that is due to the fact that mobile was becoming a thing and sort of eating into their market share a bit. So yeah, they ended up having to do an ambassador program, for God's sake, to try to make early adopters whole and feel like they didn't get ripped off after Nintendo went ahead and cut the launch price down to $170. So yeah, big mistake by Nintendo there. And number 9 on the list, neglecting franchises. Good lord. I mean, yes, we occasionally get an F-Zero 99, but we kind of want a big, brand new F-Zero, right? Or how long has it been since we had a brand new 3D Mario, which is crazy, because why would you neglect your best franchise of all? Whether it's anything from Earthbound to Kid Icarus, which has taken a while to get anything from that. Nintendo has a habit of neglecting franchises. When's the next Star Fox, for example? It just is annoying because you know they have such good properties, and you know you kind of have an idea in a sense of what that game would look like in the modern era, and they just don't put them out. And here we sit and wait. Look how long we had to wait for Metroid Prime 4. And then how about number 8 on the list? Online functionality. Let's be frank, let's be real. Nintendo's online is still well behind what Xbox and PlayStation offer as far as a user-friendly experience. So that's got to be on the list. They just don't really value online play as much. Number 7, and this one hits home for me as a content creator. Attacking content creators. Nintendo has a really bad habit of attacking content creators. It makes it hard for content creators to want to embrace Nintendo. I have a hard time. I can't stream Nintendo games probably without getting a strike. If I talk a certain way about Nintendo games, I could be in trouble. So, like, this kind of stuff is really bad. It's really annoying. It's sort of like too old school way of thinking. They need to embrace content creation. I would absolutely love to be able to, cover Nintendo exactly how I want to, playing their games in live stream, not having to worry about a thing. That would be awesome. And actually have like a share button like PlayStation does for their games. Yeah, right. Number 6 on the list, live action Mario movie from 1993. This movie was trash. Personally, I don't mind that it exists at all. But Nintendo deeply, deeply regrets that. Same thing with the Philips CDI stuff for Zelda, by the way. But yeah, without a doubt, they just wish that didn't exist. Number 5 on the list, I think this one rings pretty true here. Letting Microsoft buy Rare. Man, if only Rare had stayed with Nintendo. I feel like Rare's been wasted at Microsoft. And with Nintendo, Rare was something to behold. Whether it was Donkey Kong Country, or whether it was everything from Perfect Dark to GoldenEye 007, this studio was set to be one of the best studios ever. But, of course, Microsoft had to buy them and ruin everything. And Nintendo didn't put up much of a fight. And they really, really should have. Number 4, sticking with cartridges on the N64. Now, I love cartridges. I loved them back in the day. I was an N64 kid over PS1. I argued for the cartridge, but after like 30 years of doing that, I had to give up the ghost and say, alright, they should have went with the CD. Because it just was a memory problem. And a bunch of third parties left Nintendo. And that's when the market shift happened. Nintendo dominated with the NES. They still won the Super NES generation. But they lagged far behind the PS1 in that generation. And a lot of it had to do with that reason right there. Number 3 on the list, the Wii U marketing. So the Wii U marketing really pisses me off. Because the truth of the matter is this. I loved my Wii U. I thought the Wii U had some banger games. And obviously you all have been playing them on the Switch and not the Wii U. Whether it was Mario Kart 8. Remember, the original Mario Kart 8 was on the Wii U. Or whether it was Breath of the Wild, technically was also a Wii U game. And they had Bayonetta 2, is still my favorite action game of all time. And it's a Wii U game. Super Smash Bros. 4. Wii U. A Wii U game, obviously. Nintendo Land. Horrendously underrated game. It's really fun. It's a really fun party game. You know, they had Mario parties on there. Super Mario 3D World was awesome. Of course, upgraded to the Switch. But the Wii U marketing was terrible. People thought it was just an add-on for the Wii. Now, I'm not a total fucking idiot, so I knew that it wasn't, and I knew it was a new console. But apparently, a lot of people did not know. I was plugged into this thing. I was never more excited for a launch of a console than I was the Wii U. I was there wanting it day one. Maybe the Switch 2 I had that same excitement for. But day one, I was like all over this crap. You know, I wanted it really bad. I got it. It had third-party games at the start. It quickly fell off. It sold like turd. And mostly that history said that's due to the marketing. Number 2, worst mistake by Nintendo, the Virtual Boy. Now, they tried to position this as the third pillar. They said, we got our home consoles, we got our handhelds, and we got the Virtual Boy. But the problem is, somebody did not tell, and it looked like something Atari would make, honestly. They did not tell Nintendo that the idea of putting on a fucking helmet and the game being red and black was going to fail, and it failed miserably. You think the Wii U sold bad? The Virtual Boy sold like ass. And so imagine my surprise when they also bring it back, almost in a loving sort of way, to NSO. I was like, are you fucking kidding me right now? We're going to get Virtual Boy before we get Nintendo DS on the NSO service? Come on, guys. Come on. And the games were not good. But the number one mistake Nintendo made was backstabbing Sony. This one hurts. What would the game industry look like for Nintendo right now? We would have a freaking monopoly. We would have a freaking monopoly if we had the Nintendo PlayStation. If that existed, be a freaking monopoly. So maybe it's good it didn't happen, because basically there was a SNES CD collaboration that began during the 1980s, and Sony executives envisioned a hybrid console. Nintendo went with the Philips CDI. Oh my god, what a horrible mistake. And then Sony ended up making their PlayStation anyway. Immediately grabbed number one in the market. Capitalized on it even more on the PS2. being number one in the market. And then, you know, PS3, they fell off a little. And then PS4, immediately number one in the market again until the Switch outsold that. And PS5, look at its sales now. PlayStation sold as many consoles as Nintendo has, honestly. And they did it in less time. And that probably wouldn't have been a thing had Nintendo not backstabbed Sony. So that's got to be their number one worst mistake ever. You guys, thank you for watching this video. Whether you're a Nintendo fan or not, we have to acknowledge facts and the truth. So, with that being said, guys, that's the end of the video. RJ signing out. Have a good one.